Welcome back to What She Said. I have no idea why the night live stream has trouble connecting. And it could be because there's so many people going live. So we just got to be patient and wait for it to connect. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. All right. So, welcome back to What She Said. It is the nighttime podcast. So if you don't know, we were live earlier today and we had a wonderful engagement. Um, you know, a lot has happened since the Cleveland Browns schedule has come out, and people are saying that the NFL owes Shedeur an apology. I said, no, 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 no. They owe Shedeur at minimum $70 million. And if they want to publicly apologize, if he cares, so be it. But they definitely owe this young man some money. Shedeur Sanders should have definitely been a top 5 draft pick. If not the Giants, cool, because we knew that would not happen anyway. But Cleveland had no excuse why they did not draft Shedeur Sanders. If they could say they took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson, they have clearly decided to move on from Deshaun Watson. I dropped a video earlier today because Deshaun Watson seemed a little salty after Shedeur's stellar performance and decided that his opinion that Dylan Gabriel was the best QB. Now, Deshaun Watson, come on now. Come on now. I know you know better. And I asked the question to members. What she said, members, I sent y'all a message. I said, did the Cleveland Browns put Deshaun Watson up to this? I mean, maybe not. Maybe he's just a little salty of feeling the pressure because Shedeur balled out. And now he's feeling threatened that his QB1 status is on the line. But really and truly, was it already on the line after a lackluster season of 9 touchdowns? And on March 31st, the owner saying they took a big swing and miss. They didn't get what they paid for. And supposedly, that is the reason why they decided to pivot from drafting Shedeur Sanders, even though they didn't tell Shedeur Sanders. They met with he and Travis as late as CU's Pro Day, after CU's Pro Day. So there's a lot here. And, fans are paying attention. It's making the QB competition spicy, which we don't have an issue with a little spice. He's entitled to his opinion, but it does seem to be that he's just a little salty because Shedeur bowed out. And people are now saying, reports are podcasters, analysts, he has a fair shot at starting. I'm like, whoa, for the media to say that, the same media that trashed this young man relentlessly, that was clutching their pearls when he fell in the draft. And they were like, well, we didn't expect it to be this bad. Really? So you thought your words, you could control how far this young man fell with your words. No, the NFL just needed the media to push the narrative that he wasn't him, or he wasn't this, or he wasn't that. And they took care of the rest. So now somebody owe this young man, at minimum, $70 million. Who gonna give it to him? I don't care about the apology, but he was robbed in broad daylight. And we all, 7.3 million people, were lured to watch it. So I'm happy for Shedeur. We knew who he was. But there's another player out there that people are now saying he got pushed down in the draft. And he went to Colorado. Can y'all guess who it is? Yeah, Jimmy Horn Jr. So let's just be honest here. I said it earlier today. It's not lost on me that CU's program, the players, they all got injured. And what happened to Shedeur? It wasn't Coach Prime fault from what I could see. There's no such thing as a Coach Prime tax. I think they scapegoated Coach Prime like they scapegoated Shedeur Sanders. They had an agenda. They needed a lie to push it. They used the media's help. And they did it. And now the truth is coming home to roost. This young man is him. Y'all lied on him. Y'all kept him from what he rightfully deserved. The number 2 pick and about $70 million. So tonight, I'm happy to hear that. I feel like it strengthens that lawsuit that's out there. I told y'all there will be others. It makes it harder for Cleveland to cut Shedeur. But we talked about earlier, what did we talk about on Lunch and Stream? we said that Cleveland doesn't have an O-line. And we're not happy as Buff fans to hear that. So we're like, you know what? We get it. We know why he, from a guy's perspective, Shedeur not being drafted second was what? Protection. And clearly his life is more important than $70 million was, right? So, yeah, if he's QB1 with no O-line, it's not a good look. So we said tonight we would take a look at what the needs were for the Cleveland Browns prior to the draft, going into the draft. What was the strategy? What issues were they trying to resolve so they could beef up the team? And what needs did they leave with a gap? So we're gonna talk about that. The needs versus who they actually drafted. So we're going to talk about that, and the schedule is out. So we're going to talk about the schedule. All right. So let me see who's in here. I just want to say hello. See what's going on. Okay, we already got a good squad for tonight. All right. So I just want to say hi. Hey, Miss Pamela, how you doing? How you doing, Pamela? Gracie, thank you. You can hear me. Thank you so much. Marlon, welcome back, Marlon. Marlon said, hey, Queen, how you doing, Marlon? We can hear you. Okay, awesome. All right. And it said, what rookie battle did he see? Right. What rookie battle did he see? Deshaun Watson saw what he wanted to see. He wanted to trick his mind like a Jedi mind trick that this is not happening here. That he only saw Dylan Gabriel, and he tricked his mind into believing that Dylan was better than Shedeur. What did we say in college? Yes, they both are Heisman candidates. And to whoever's running around trying to argue with me and say that Shedeur wasn't a Heisman finalist, that's not what I said. I said he was a Heisman candidate because he was. He was in the top 10. He was in consideration. He and Dylan. So Coach Prime had 2 Heisman candidates, 2 top 5 draft picks. And one of them got pushed down to the later rounds. So Shedeur was a Heisman candidate, Dylan Gabriel, Heisman candidate. And we said it at CU. They snubbed Shedeur. That should have been Shedeur and Travis. Shedeur was the most accurate QB in college. And you know what people don't know? Shedeur played, 5 years? 4 years? Dylan played 6 or 5. In other words, Dylan had 1 more year on Shedeur. So if they were close with 6 years or 1 more year than Shedeur, come on. That means Shedeur was more efficient and got it done in less time. The most accurate QB in less time. And let's not forget, he didn't even have an O-line. So let's be honest. We probably shouldn't be concerned because we know Shedeur can still be the best QB in college with no O-line or with half of an O-line because the left side showed up. We're not going to cheat The Rock and Big C out of that. But people to the center to the right before they change to Cash Cleveland, who is at Texas Tech, by the way, were sketchy. I'm just going to put it out there. So I don't know if those people have made it to the league or not. If they did, I wish them well, but they was a little sketchy. So if Shedeur can manage to pull all of that, I told you, just go watch the Baylor game. If you just watch the Baylor game, you see exactly who Shedeur Sanders is. That young man was sacked 8 times. And when he realized that the right side was giving way, that's the accurate term, and number 10 was coming for him, he rolled out the pocket to the left. So it answers the question. He has no mobility issues. He was cheated in college. Why? Because they didn't want him to be the best, and he was that anyway. So it was futile. It was truly futile. They still got to a bowl game. But did he get snubbed from the Heisman? Yes. So honestly, Shedeur being better than Dylan, it's just chickens coming home to roost from college. He should have been on that stage, he and Travis. And yeah, they probably were like, well, let's snub Shedeur so he don't get up there because some people didn't like Shedeur. Why? Because I guess they got exposed, for not being who they are. And at their new job, I heard they got exposed again. So that wasn't on Shedeur. The young man just wanted to win, but they had adults in their feelings who thought they could take shots and sabotage Coach Prime's job at Colorado. So they did what the NFL did. They took it out on Shedeur. I told y'all Shedeur was collateral damage. To be honest, they just made Coach Prime a scapegoat. I explained that earlier today. So chickens coming home to roost is what's happening this week. Shedeur was always better than Dylan Gabriel. People said it. Shedeur had better stats than Dylan Gabriel. So Shedeur should have been on that stage. He got robbed, and he handled it with class. He just went up there with Travis and took the picture with the trophy. I thought that was cute. So you couldn't keep him off the stage regardless. You couldn't stop him from shining in college regardless. And if he has any opportunity to have 80% of an O-line, he will be Mr. 500. He might. It wouldn't surprise me. It depends on who the competition is, I guess. But the point is, if it's happened once, maybe it can happen at the NFL level, and we shouldn't rule it out. All right, so let's get in here and take a look at this schedule. Then we're going to go right on into the draft. We will be back tomorrow at 12:30 noon. I scheduled it. I noticed when I scheduled 2 lives or multiple live streams, that it seems like I have to delete one and then we go live. So that's a glitch, and it has nothing to do with me. So I'll have to schedule the noon live stream, lunch and stream, what she said, sports, lunch and stream. Mark your calendars, 12:30. Look for your notification after this live stream. All right, so let's get in here and look at this schedule. We're looking at it together for the first time because I have not looked at it. I'm excited. Are y'all excited? Thumbs up in the chat if y'all are excited. Okay. All right. So, here we go. First game out the gate. The Bengals. First game out the gate. The Bengals. I like it. Hopefully, Shedeur gets to play I guess, week 1. Why? Because he's a fan of Joe Burrows. And honestly, when I saw they were in the same division, I believe they're in the same division. I was excited for that game. So, yay. Something to look forward to. The Bengals versus the Browns. Hopefully they let Shedeur play. He deserves to play, but we see how they play. We see how they moving. So, we'll see what God does. And if he don't play, believe me, there's a reason. I think the O-line was ranked either 20th or 24th. Either one is not good. It's not good. There's only 32 teams. So that's way more than half. And we talked about those issues, and we'll look at them closer when we get to the draft. So then let's see. Let's see if it goes. Let me know if y'all can see. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put another monitor on real fast so I can see if I can make sure if there's any issues. That way I can kind of see if there's any issues. Give me a minute. Give me a second, please. Give me a second. All right. So, all right. Who is this next? The Dolphins. I'm going left to right because that's how we read. I'm not worried about the dates. I'm just going left to right. The Dolphins are coming up, then the 49ers. Okay. I think that's good. Let's see. All right. So that's week 7. So I'm going to go down. Okay. All right. So let's do this again. Bengals, week 1. What's the date? Sunday, September 7th. Looks like an early game. Okay, that's cool. Week 2, the Ravens. Now, I am excited about the Ravens. Y'all know why. Lamar Jackson. Again, we hope Shedeur gets to play. I will say this. People are saying Shedeur has a shot to start. I asked the question, should Shedeur start? So y'all let me know in the comments if you believe that Shedeur Sanders should start in week 1. Let me know. Do you think he should start the season? QB1, let me know. Some people might say, nah, give him more time. These rookies need to sit behind somebody. There's a few rookies out there that have proven that's not the case. CJ Stroud, Jada Daniels. I think Cam Ward is going to be good. I think Shedeur is going to be good. So let me know in the comments. Yes, 2 should start. Or 12, whatever, 2 or 12. 2 should start, or no, he shouldn't start. Either one, let me know. Ravens week 2. That's Sunday. Looks like September 14th, a 1 p.m. game. So the Bengals have midday games on a Sunday. That's not bad. I'll take it. I don't have a problem with that. Week 3, the Packers. I can't really see these dates. Sunday, looks like what date is that? I can't see the date. It's all fuzzy. Anyway, it's a Sunday. It also looks like it is at 1 p.m. We're not worried about the time. Then we have the Lions and week 4. Sunday, September 28th, also a 1 p.m. game. Their games are early. You know, the Falcons games are like that. The Falcons play at 1 o'clock too. Most times. Then they play the Vikings. Okay, so do we have any Packers fans in the house? I'm excited for the Packers game because Malik Willis is QB1 with the Packers. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. Again, it would be nice if Shedeur was playing for this game. Then the Lions. And this is an away game. Detroit, Jared Goff. I don't think I know anybody else play for the Lions. I know we had some Lion fans as part of podcast community. Let me know. I think Darlene might have been a Lions fan. Then we have the Vikings in week 5. Minnesota, JJ McCarthy. I think that'll be interesting. Now, let me ask y'all if y'all think Cleveland gonna do a 2 QB game? Maybe the first game. I don't know who starts, but maybe somebody else finishes. You think maybe they'll do it like that, where you have red zone QBs? We talked about this with Colorado. You have red zone QBs. You know, you have first down QBs, etc. So let me know your thoughts in the comments about that too. Do you think Cleveland would do a 2 QB system for the first 2 games to see who shakes out? Now, mind you, they have 5 quarterbacks, and I did ask the question earlier. If Deshaun Watson has taken his last snap, as it has been reported that people believe he's taken his last snap, what is he going to do for 2025 and 2026? If anybody has any thoughts on that, let me know, because I think that is quite interesting. Would he just be on the bench, I guess, for the next 2 years? Let me know your thoughts. And then let's see. We have a game. I can't see the bottom. It's cut off. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is in week 9 or week 5. And then we go over to week 7. Let me see. I think I actually need to zoom out a little bit. So yeah, it's cut off at the bottom, so I can't really see it. Anyway, the Dolphins in week 7. Early game, October. Okay. Then the Patriots. Then they have a bye week. Okay. So 8 weeks, and then they take a rest, which is good. Don't know anybody play for the Patriots. The Dolphins have Quinn Ewers and Tyreek Hill. So, and of course they have Tua. I mean, that might be a good game to watch. I think that might be a good one for us to watch. We're going to try to watch these games together. Sometimes sometimes I go live the entire game. We're going to see how the first one goes. Because if Shedeur not playing, I'm not going live for 4 hours. I can promise you that. But if I see Shedeur Sanders, I'm going to be live. I just know that. So then we have the Jets. Now, I definitely want to see the Jets game. Justin Fields, Coach Aaron Glenn, I want to see how that turns out. Then we have the Ravens again, Lamar Jackson. So if, let's say, depends on who wins the first one, how excited I'll be for the second one. But again, I'm happy to see the Ravens. Then it is, who is that? An away game. I can't tell who that is in week 12 because it's cut off at the bottom. And then there is the 49ers. So you have the 49ers in week 13, also at 1 o'clock. Okay, so most of the games just at 1 o'clock. Then there's the Titans. Now, this is the game we're looking forward to, okay? 14 weeks in, I will say this. If Shedeur Sanders is the starter and everybody plays football, competitive football, and not, compromised, I think by week 14, he's comfortable for sure. And could lead versus the Titans. And I think we would get to see Cam versus Shedeur. I would love that. Hopefully it can happen and they done with the shenanigans. Let's see. The Bears. Now, the Bears is week 15. I don't know if y'all know, but Simone Biles' husband plays for the Bears. I don't know if he's a safe. I feel like he's a safety. But that's one reason for me to watch the Bears. Then there's Caleb Williams and, Colorado versus USC year 1, So there's that. There's that old college rivalry. And then it says the Bills. Now, I like Keon Coleman. I'll probably watch the Bills game versus the Browns. It's even hopefully Shedeur is playing or starting. I don't know how it's going to go, but we shall see. And then it says week 18. I can't see what it is. It looks like it might be. I don't know who week 18 is because it's hiding, so I can't really see it. Y'all can let me know in the comments. But anyway, so we have the most of the that's the schedule. Most of the games at 1:00. It's not going to be hard to get together. I will tell you, if Shedeur is starting, I'm watching these games, the whole game. If he's not, I'm not. I'm watching. I'm here for Shedeur Sanders. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. I'm here for Shedeur Sanders. These are Sundays. These are weekends. This is precious time. That's why it's going to need to be Shedeur, or I'm going to have to catch the highlights and we can talk about it during our normal course of business at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unless they let him play and he throw a touchdown or something like that, I'll go live. But honestly, if in week 1 they don't let him start, week 2, I'm not wasting my time. Okay, so and that's on Sundays. So we still have the Colorado Buffs on Saturdays. So we have 2 games happening for a while. What, 12 weeks in college? Happening about the same time as the NFL on Saturdays and Sundays. That's why I'm like, this time is precious. So Cleveland might want to make the right decision and start Shedeur so we can watch the Buffs on, Friday, and then Friday or Saturday, and then we can watch Cleveland on the most part on Sundays. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think about the schedule? Let me see what y'all are saying in the comments. Let's see. All right. So I'm checking to see what y'all are saying in the comments. There's a lot of comments. Okay, let's see. Gretchen said, somebody's blind. Hold on one second. I can't see the chat. Okay, here we go. Gretchen said, they robbed him blind. Give him his money. Yes. Give that young man his money. I totally agree. Did you get this from the horse's mouth? What are you talking about, Bo? Oh, y'all saying hi to each other. That's so cute. I like that. Love the engagement, the positive engagement. Terrence said, I literally cannot believe I'm sitting here thinking about rooting for the Cleveland Browns. You cannot tell me the prime effect is not real. Absolutely. And why would you shun that? See, to shun it means, it's crazy to shun that. It really is. I'm just going to put it out there. That means you have to be in control. And to want to, and that was the whole point of the message from President Trump. That was the whole message. If you want to win, you would draft him immediately because he knew they were not making business decisions. They were not steering this draft like Stephen A said. It was not about talent. He saw it. The world saw it. 7.3 million people in the world saw it. Mostly in the U.S., but it was some people globally. They saw that. And it's funny, the NFL has some international games that they're excited about playing. I think they have 2 this year. I'm like, so y'all gonna take this mess overseas, huh? Not the game, but the agenda, the biases. You're gonna take this to another country. How about we fix home first? How about we fix our attitudes at home, our biases at home, before we take the show on the road and try to deal with people we think we know? Other countries are different. They're not like the U.S. If you ever watch global news, they have a different perspective about things in other countries. They're not like the U.S. A lot of people think, if you over here, you're not that bright. So they don't fear us like that. Deshaun Watson. Yes. He was on 850 Cleveland ESPN. And it's documented. Just Google it. If I say something, it was documented somewhere. Somebody asked me about that earlier. They were like, well, how did you hear this about Deshaun Watson? So I politely told them where. They was like, oh, thank you, because I was looking. I don't mind telling you the source, because believe me, I got it from somewhere. So yes, Deshaun Watson. You spoke about Deshaun Watson wanting to smoke. Yes, yes, yes. That he gave us his comment. He gave us his opinion. He was on that ESPN Cleveland podcast that I told y'all about, the guy with the green shirt. He was on there. You could go watch it or listen to it, however you want to do it. Let Dylan start. Caroline, you want Dylan to start? Why you want Dylan to start? That's a better question. Why do you want Dylan to start? So, so we get ready to segue. I'm excited about the first game, the Bengals. I'm excited about a few games. The Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers. I don't know if I'm excited about the Steelers. I'm excited at the possibility of Shedeur Sanders starting. That's what I'm excited about. If that don't happen, I'm gonna find something else to do, and we gonna, rally at 9:30, and we just gonna talk about whatever happened, because I don't see these people doing an about face without some pressure. I don't see it. I said that. I was looking at a video I had posted. I said, man, if people watch this video, they're gonna be like, now that it's all said and done, they're gonna be like, damn, she said that. That's why I named the podcast what she said. I said it. It's gonna take something like a lawsuit for these people to start going in the right direction. And $100 million lawsuit ain't gonna get it. They got too much money for that. They're gonna have to be hit with civil rights violations again. And the fact that you have violated people's civil rights within the last 5 years means it should be more than $1 billion. Because that's how much you paid last time. And clearly you didn't learn your lesson. So a lot of cases are settled that way. Well, since you didn't learn nothing, I want you to go ahead on and double it or triple it or quadruple it. And maybe you'll learn. Maybe you'll learn. So we can see how the O-line operates. Oh, I had a feeling that's what you meant. That's why I said, why you want Dylan to start? Now, we like Dylan. Don't put Flacco out there. Matter of fact, put Deshaun out there. Since he want to light up some smoke against Shedeur, don't let him start. Because I'm trying to figure out why he only had 9 touchdowns. But I will be watching the rest of their highlights. I watched Jerry Jeudy, and I think I remember somebody named McLeod. So I need to see who's on the roster. And you know what? I don't really like to get into the roster so much. I want to see who they drafted, because the roster could change at number 53. And I'm going to just go ahead on and say it. It's going to be really hard for Cleveland to cut Shedeur, like their little joke, that little jokey joke that they had going around to the 2,000 people with Shedeur Sanders' phone number, who did not need to know. Emphasis, did not need to know. That was a data breach. That little jokey joke, he was supposed to get cut. It's going to be hard to cut him. And I'm going to just go ahead on and say it. It's going to be very hard to bench him. ESPN seems to be, Shedeur needs to start. He has an opportunity to start. That's ESPN's message. Now, y'all know that's different. So, I'm paying attention to the media to see if they all start going in the same direction, because that's what they do. They don't have any independent thought. Stephen A. shocked me when he said, okay, well, the NFL is not about talent. The draft is not about talent anymore. And he said, I saw collusion. It looks like they wanted to hurt him intentionally. He went on the record and said that. Now, I can't remember if it probably was his own podcast. So he could do that on his own podcast. But the point is, he's still the same person that sit behind the ESPN desk. Everybody knows Stephen A. run ESPN. So the fact that he called it out, I think Pat McAfee is now saying it out loud, the same message, Shedeur is that guy. He could start. That's coming from somewhere. Where? Okay, so we're going to see. We shall see. Y'all know that's the motto. That's our motto. We shall see. So we're going to see what God has done by the time we get to the first game. We're going to see. Quincy Carrier is a good source for Cleveland Browns content. Oh, okay, thank you, Tap. Thank you so much. Browns have a new offensive coordinator and assistant coach. They said there's going to be a signal problem. Oh, Lord, jeez. They was already bad last year. Now they going to have a signal problem. Again, Shedeur not being drafted second was protection. We see that. But we don't want our guys sitting on the bench. And we know we don't want him to get sacked like that, but we know he can outrun. He can outrun. I'm telling you, go look at the Baylor game. If I knew that I could share that footage, we probably would watch that as the intro. The last 2 minutes of the Baylor game, if I can get that footage from the guys who do the calls for the game, because this is their footage. This is not college football TV footage. This is their footage. This is their recording. If I can get that last 2 minutes and use that as the intro like I did for Alabama State, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It got to be done. Do y'all know how good the last 2 minutes of the Baylor game is? If you go watch it, just go watch it. Just go watch it, and we come back and talk about it. You can tell me in the comments, I saw it. The last 2 minutes of the game, they went into overtime. Travis and Shedeur showed why they were a dynamic duo. They showed why they both are playmakers. So let me say this about Jimmy Horn Jr. I'm probably going to talk about this tomorrow at 12:30. So y'all know I'm on most platforms, and I respond wherever I see the content, right? So there was a post going around, and the post essentially said that let me see if I can find it. The post said that reports out of Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers are. Let me see if I can paraphrase. Reports out of Carolina Panthers camp. Jimmy Horn Jr. is like one of the best slot wide receivers or receivers that came out of camp. Like Shedeur's best QB that came out of camp. Jimmy Horn Jr., one of the best receivers or slot receivers to come out of camp. He could start. He could basically have the starting job. And I said, it's just further collusion. That's all it is. It just proves what we said. What did I say right before the draft? Steve Smith said that Jimmy Horn Jr. was a top 10 wide receiver in the draft. I said it multiple times. Jimmy Horn Jr. should have been a late first round, early second round. And honestly, he wanted to go to Carolina. So I still don't see if they know that now. They're saying the coaches were wild away. I'm like, why? Didn't you look at his film? He has hours of film saying how twitchy he is. They were blown away. Why? Didn't y'all come to the games? You see what I'm saying? They waste these young man's time. They messed up their money and everything. So now they got to go the whole 4 years with what they had. That's not right, bro. That's the difference between Jimmy Horn Jr. being number 203 or 206 from number 53. That's a lot of money. And that's not right to devalue these players this way. And if anybody say it's a prime tax or it was to hurt the program, no, you hurt those young men who've been working all their lives to get here. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Somebody got to be held accountable. So now Shedeur balled out and can't. It's not a surprise. Now Jimmy Horn Jr., wow, blew everybody away. Why? Where your scouts at? They didn't do their job. You didn't know he was twitchy. They invited him for a 30 to 30. They wanted to see something. This was collusion. This was just more evidence of collusion. In all honesty, I'm going to just be very, very, very transparent and respectful at the same time. I was actually shocked that Jimmy Horn Jr. wasn't the first receiver to go because he should have been late first round, early second round. And no disrespect to anybody. I'm happy all 4 receivers got into the NFL. I hate that Will Shepherd, something happened. They found something on his physical. I just really hate that because this young man been working all his life to get here. And whatever it is, apparently just popped up. And that's painful. That's painful. That means he got to change his dream. There's another young man that medically retired out of Tennessee. You don't think that was painful for him that they told him he probably can't play football no more? So my heart aches for these young men that something on the physical pops up and they can't play anymore. And my heart aches for young men like Jimmy Horn Jr. and Shedeur, who worked so hard and deserved to be high picks. And I don't buy the excuse that they were trying to hurt Coach Prime. I really don't. Because he's going to be there next year. What you going to do? What you going to do? I don't buy that it was about Shedeur. And we know it wasn't about Jimmy. So what was it about? These are questions that need to be answered. So let's get into the NFL draft where the Cleveland Browns are concerned. And we're going to look and we're going to see who it is that they picked. So before we start talking about who they picked, let's talk about what they needed. Okay, so it's documented because if you ask me, it's already out there. It's documented. They needed to do something with their O-line. I don't care about the rest. I don't really care about the rest. They needed to do something with their O-line. I'm still not 100% certain they needed another wide receiver because the tape that I saw, if the man is still on the team, they good. They said, they had issues with pass blocking, protecting the pass rush, pass protection, pass blocking, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's look. Keep in mind that they needed an O-line. They needed a left tackle, which is essentially Jordan Seaton. So they needed a left tackle. They have a problem at left tackle. It's documented they needed a left tackle. That is Jordan Seaton at Colorado said as the left tackle, he's honored to protect Shedeur on his blind side. Okay? All right. So left tackle and running back. But left tackle. Left tackle is a problem. Why? You have to protect the QB. And then they have an old lineman who has a back injury and who seems to be older. So that's 3 problems and 2 people. So you have a problem on your O-line without a doubt. I'm not saying it, it's documented. All right. So let's see who they took. Round 1, Mason Graham, a defensive tackle. Now today, I saw a post that said a linebacker sustained an injury last season. And now he's going to be out for the rest of 2025 with a neck injury. I don't know if they tried to use that to justify this defensive tackle, but you needed an O-lineman. I'm sorry, they needed a quarterback. My apologies. My apologies. Maybe because they have 5, I think they don't need one. You gonna get a quarterback. You gonna get Shedeur Sanders. Let's be clear. So a quarterback, offensive lineman, multiple, running back. Not that I agree with the running back, but okay. It explains some things here. So Mason Graham, defensive tackle, what a waste. Not him as a person, wasting that pick. If you were going to get a tackle, why wasn't it a left tackle on the offensive line? You see what I'm saying? You have a problem and you get a defensive tackle. You have a left tackle problem and you get a defensive tackle. You have a quarterback problem and you get a defensive tackle. Are we not trying to win? Moving on, round 2, pick 33, Carson Schwetzinger, a linebacker. Maybe he could replace the guy with the neck injury. We shall see. Pick 36, also round 2, Quinshon Judkins. I do believe that's number 10 that we see, number 10. He went to Ohio State. He is a running back. Now, Quinshon Judkins is good. I watched him in the Natty. If Will Howard wasn't throwing the ball to number 4 or Emeka Egbuka or passing it off to Quinshon Judkins, I don't know what else was happening. So that's what was happening for the most part. That's what was happening. So he's a beast. Now, I don't mind them getting him. I don't mind them getting him. But again, we have talked about 3 picks and there's no left tackle. There's no one to replace the additional lineman with a back issue who may be aging, or that's the 3rd person. The point is, out of the first 3 picks, you don't come up with anybody on the offensive line. You're just going to let your problem exist. New coaches, new signal callers, even a new offensive coordinator is not going to fix an O-lineman with a back problem and a gap at left tackle when it comes to talent. When it comes to talent, the left tackle rating that I saw was yellow in like 54. If you have a 54 and stats like that with ratings, you shouldn't even be on the NFL squad, because our guys in college were rated as like 70s. Jordan Seaton was like a 70 in those types of O-lineman ratings. So you got a freshman with a higher rating than a professional. It's the same rating. So let's move on. We have a defensive tackle, a linebacker, and a running back. Our needs were a quarterback, offensive lineman, and okay, a running back. I get it. Then we have round 3, pick 67. Harold Fannin Jr. He's a tight end. Another need, I remembered it. They needed a wide receiver. That's where the Odell Beckham conversation came in at. Odell Beckham did not go to Cleveland. He's supposed to be either in Miami or he got cut from Miami or he's going to be in Miami. So no, they needed a wide receiver. And I do believe people were saying that if the GM get him, he should be fired. That's what they said. So that was the conversation last night. So they got a tight end. So I need a quarterback. I need 2 offensive linemen. That's 3 people right there. And y'all say I need a running back. That's 4. And I need a wide receiver. That's 5. Out of how many picks? 4 picks. I only have 1 box check out of 5. That's the running back. I have only satisfied 1 issue out of 5. I got a running back. Let's move on. Here we go. Quarterback. I need a quarterback. I get somebody in the 3rd round. If you get a 3rd round QB at number 94, you don't expect him to start. So if I got a quarterback and I have a need at quarterback and I take somebody who came out the 3rd round, number 94, I don't expect him to start. Who was I expecting to start? The young man that we took a swing and miss with, Deshaun Watson, who, if you ask analysts, have taken his last snap. So, okay, it's not Deshaun. It's not Dylan. Who is it? Who did you expect to start? Kenny Pickett? Let you win and got in March? I have a feeling that's who you expected to start. Oh, I know who it was. Joe Flacco, who's 40 years old. You expected him to start, keeping up with 23-year-olds. Travis Hunter's 21. Imagine that. Yeah. So, again, I don't know if we can say we checked off this box. I really don't know. But it is a quarterback. So, let's check it off. Then, Dylan Sampson. Okay. Number 126 out of Tennessee. He's a running back. So now I have 2 running backs. I have Quishon Junkins, 2 running backs, and I have a bunch of running backs on my roster already. So I'm just full of running backs. So clearly I'm not planning to pass the ball. I'm clearly planning to have a ground game. Is that why I have a 3rd round QB? Yeah, that's why. So again, who did they expect to start? Maybe it was Deshaun Watson, and instead of them, the dual threat QB that he is, they wanted him to pass the ball off, and they figured, let's just go with the ground game. That's the only thing that's starting to make sense. All right. So 2 running backs and a 3rd round QB. Then here we go. I got 2 QBs and how many running backs? 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks. Isn't that something? Now, Shedeur is elite. We're not going to talk about why we got him at 144. We talked about that. What are we going to do with Shedeur Sanders? Because we got 2 running backs and we didn't get a wide receiver. So that tells me, by process of elimination, no receiver, no O-lineman, 2 running backs. I'm planning to run the ball this year. I don't need a good quarterback with a good arm. That's why I have a 3rd rounder and a 5th rounder. Well, I got the 5th rounder because I had to get it. That's why I got a 3rd rounder. I don't need your arm. I don't care how tall you are. I just need you to pass this ball off to all of these running backs that we have. That's what their strategy is. That's what their strategy is. By process of elimination, that's what their strategy is. So they didn't get a wide receiver. And apparently they didn't get a wide receiver because why? They didn't get a wide receiver because they don't believe that they are going to run the ball. I mean, they're going to pass the ball. It's going to be a long season in Cleveland if this is how they conduct business. So yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. So you know, y'all let me know your thoughts. So this is what I see has happened here. They were hot and heavy after Shedeur Sanders. The owner came out on March 31st, who I think is in on all of this, which is why we haven't seen him. Who was part of the collusion not to draft Shedeur Sanders, came out and said, "Oh, I forgot. On March 31st, we have Deshaun Watson. We took a big swing and missed March 31st, right before the draft. But they've been courting Shedeur Sanders since January, February, whenever it was legal to do so, allowable. So essentially, when they pivoted from Shedeur, they decided to go after a third rounder because we knew Dillon Gabriel was out there. They decided to get him in the third round. Dillon Gabriel never had an elite first or second round rating. He was always third round, unlike Shedeur. So they knew that they were going to take a QB who was not as tall as they liked them to be, who they didn't care about his arm. They didn't care about, that's why they didn't care about his height. He could pass off the ball to who? All these running backs that they have. I don't know how many they have, but they got 2 in the draft. So that tells you that that's their priority. We can't say the quarterback was the priority because we know that they did not plan to take Shedeur. So the run game is the priority in Cleveland. Dillon Gabriel was just going to be passing off the ball to these running backs. That's why they didn't get any O-linemen. Because, I mean, I could just pass off the ball. I have enough. What I have is sufficient enough to pass off the ball. Now, they didn't come up with an elite strategy. They came up with a Band-Aid. That's what that is. That's a Band-Aid. That is a Band-Aid. You have a dual threat QB already in Deshaun Watson, and he only got off 9 touchdowns. So you figure you'll get a third rounder for cheap, and I'm not being disrespectful, for less money, and use him because Deshaun Watson, you done with him, and because you paid so much money for him, his services, let me be clear, his skill set, because you paid so much money for another quarterback, you decided to lowball and get a lesser talented QB that could just pass off the ball and hand it off to the running back, which is why you have 2 running backs. That's why you didn't get a wide receiver. That's a Band-Aid. That's not an elite strategy. That's not an elite strategy. The elite strategy would have been get the best QB, the most accurate QB in Shedeur Sanders, and swallow that $230 million that you paid Deshaun Watson, because clearly that's about something else. That's clearly about something else. Y'all did not just want to give him $230 million after 24 civil lawsuits were settled for misconduct. Y'all not fooling nobody. There's something there. That's why you don't mind sitting him on the bench for the next 2 years. You knew what he was when you drafted him. You knew the situation when you drafted him. So you can't say you pivoted from Shedeur Sanders because you took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson. You knew that in 2022. It's 2025. So you should have never pursued Shedeur Sanders. So basically, you set him up. You gave him false hope that he would be drafted high. You knew he would have a party, a function, or whatever. You knew what you were doing. You were part of luring him and 7.3 million fans to watch you publicly humiliate him, which is why when he got to Cleveland, y'all was still trying to do it. But now the media is rallying around him all of a sudden. All of a sudden, the biggest of the boxes. You're not going to be able to cut that young man like you thought. You're not going to be able to bench him like you thought. And that Band-Aid strategy that they have is not elite. It's just more of the same mediocrity. And the blame, who gets the blame? Deshaun Watson. There's no way Cleveland was allowed to give Deshaun Watson $230 million Fully guaranteed. The only quarterback in the NFL of the history going back to 1920 to ever get a fully guaranteed contract. And after 24 allegations and civil lawsuits settled for misconduct, he might be a scapegoat too. Regardless of what I think about his comment, it is his opinion. I don't really care either way. But to scapegoat him when there's clearly something else there, it's just like scapegoating Shedeur. It's just more cover up, more secrets, and more lies with chickens waiting to come home to roost. So I'm gonna be excited about the possibility of seeing Shedeur play. That's all that I'm in it for when it comes to Cleveland. You can't respect an organization that doesn't respect its employees. That's that. Yeah, you know, like the Niners are using canary birds. Hey, Tuna, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Glad you can hang out with us tonight. So what are y'all thinking, Jerry? It says, oh, how y'all doing? Y'all still saying hi. Okay. It says the Browns drafted a linebacker with a second round pick. Hell, they drafted a defensive tackle with the first. These people are wasting people's talents. Wasting people's talents. I saw somebody drop a video that said Cleveland is where quarterbacks go to die. And they had Deshaun Watson at the center with a bunch of other QBs flanked on the left and the right side. And that's a shame, but that's the truth. That really is the truth. If you just, I mean, why are you putting a Band-Aid on a situation like this? Because are we really supposed to believe that y'all just want to give Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract for $230 million? What you thought the rest of the quarterbacks was going to say? Where's mine? Let's see. In order for Shedeur to demonstrate God's ability to elevate man like he did, Joseph, who was accused, then jailed, only to rise to power, to be Pharaoh's son, and handman to deliver the masses. I agree. And I think Shedeur knows that. I think Shedeur knows that God opened the door for him to be in Cleveland, and he gonna be in Cleveland. And if Cleveland don't play him, Shedeur gonna be okay with it because he's gonna understand that likely is for his protection. And some people say that trade that I've been talking about, that Jacksonville trade, is probably a reality. And next year he's gonna be somewhere else. But I said he gonna end up like Geno Smith. Or is he gonna end up like Geno Smith, a journeyman in the first 3 years of his career? Or is he going to be more like Malik Willis and set free to go on to a better team that knows what to do with elite quarterbacks and be QB1 there? So we got to ride this year out, and we got to support Shedeur. Keep his, he got his head up. He's not bothered. And as fans, we just got to get through it. The question is, how much of our time are we going to devote to this organization if they choose to continue the shenanigans? Or are we grateful if they don't start him because we don't have to worry about him getting hurt behind an O-line that they didn't even bother to fix during the draft? Mason Graham will give Myles Garrett more freedom. Yeah, they could have took him at another time. I'm sorry. First round for defensive tackle? No. That's not what that was about at all. Duck Banks said they signed Cornelius Lucas, offensive tackle, and Trevor Jenkins in free agency. Who's that? Oh, offensive guard. Okay, good. Are they good? Duck, are they good? Let us know what you know about them. Marlon said, I bet my old self can beat Kenny Pickett Jr. in the 40. He is not fast, Marlon. Yeah. And you know what's funny? I really think that they were going to go with Kenny Pickett starting, Joe Flacco like a mentor, and Dylan Gabriel at the 3 with Deshaun Watson at the 4. I really think that that's what was going to happen. I think that's what was going to happen. Deshaun Watson was an owner's decision. Yeah, absolutely. Like, come on now. They let you give this person the one thing no other quarterback has had, a fully guaranteed contract. After this situation, nah. Nah, everybody that was involved is being protected because it was not only Deshaun Watson. And Justin Tucker told you that. I'm like, you see, they were still going on with it because they didn't get caught. Off topic, but what string QB is Russell Wilson? They say he gonna start, but I've already seen articles about Jackson Dart being the starting QB down there. I saw an article that said Jackson Dart had people convinced he could be the starter. I said, I told y'all they was gonna do this. I knew it. And if that happens, it's exactly what I have said it was the entire time, playing in Russell Wilson face. I know there are people on this podcast that heard me say that so many times before the draft. They playing in his face. I said that. I told y'all they was going to draft Jackson Dart, and I told y'all they was playing in Russell Wilson's face. I was right. Not that I want to be, but that tells you that everything that you saw on draft night regarding Shedeur and Coach Prime was a setup. And there's a different agenda. The same one that's always been the agenda in New York at the starting quarterback position. They have never had, whether it's through free agency, whether it's through a draft, they have never had a black starting QB1, which means play the majority of the season. Never. Not Tyrod Taylor, not Geno Smith. Do you think they're going to trade Myles Garrett, or did they sign him? They signed him to a new contract. They signed Myles Garrett to a new contract after he wrote the letter and say he wanted to go somewhere and win. They were like, here, take this money and shut up. And he did. So he got a new contract. Duck says, I don't know much about them, but that's possibly why they don't draft an O-lineman. I'm going to have to look at some film. Let me say this. Let me say this. When it comes to your O-lineman and their situation, and they've been a revolving door for QBs, I'm not saying you needed to draft them in the first round. What I'm saying is to draft a defensive tackle in the first round when you needed an O-lineman and a quarterback in the first round means you needed an elite quarterback. And somewhere along the line, you should have drafted, maybe instead of a tight end, maybe instead of 2 running backs, 1 O-lineman who was elite. You went and got 2 people in free agency because you're being cheap. I have heard people call this organization cheap. I have heard it. And I believe it. Honestly, if it wasn't for Shedeur, I would know nothing about the Browns. The only thing I can say about the Browns that I like is their website, their social media page. They love Shedeur. And they have good content, but the organization itself, this is not where you should start your career. It should be where you go to retire. So Joe Flacco is perfect for the Browns. But everybody else that's under the age of 30, nope. Especially the quarterback. I hate it. Yes, I can vouch for her saying, yep, Russell Wilson being played with. Yep. I'm telling you, I said it, and I knew, because I thought it was weird. I said, now why on draft night, right after Jackson Dart get drafted, would they put out a post saying that Russell Wilson was going to be the starter? Because it's more of the little shenanigans. More, just like they pretended to be interested in Shedeur. They pretended with Russell Wilson when they got him. And they were pretending when they put out that post. Then they're going to say, well, the fans wanted him to start. We don't know that. We ain't talked to all their fans. We don't know what they think. They're going to tell us whatever. That's what they've been doing, lying. They are skilled at lying and being incompetent and mismanaging elite black talent, whether it's the quarterback or whether it's Saquon Barkley. They just wasting people's time too. Just wasting people's time. I definitely agree. They should have got some O-linemen. Yeah. Come on now. You did not need a defensive tackle. You needed a damn quarterback that was elite. And you needed an O-lineman. And you notice they had 2 picks in the second round. One of those picks could have been who? An O-lineman. There were O-linemen in the second round. I'm sure there were. I'm sure there was some out there. I'm sure that there were. That's what I mean. You're not prioritizing protecting your quarterback. You putting a Band-Aid on your problem and you blaming Deshaun Watson, but he didn't ask for that contract. He was over there making $10 million with the Texans, and y'all gave him 46. Now, y'all didn't take a big swing and miss. The league did. And the swing and miss wasn't his contract because it's fully guaranteed. You ain't even think about that one. The swing and miss was when he asked for a trade. You thought you was going to rub his nose in his audacity to ask for a trade. But you found out, didn't you? You found out, didn't you? You was about to expose a whole gaggle of people. Yeah, that's why he got that contract. I don't give a damn what nobody say. $230 million fully guaranteed after 24 civil lawsuits. Settled. He essentially got all his money back. If the lawsuits came up to 50 mil, which they may not, they might have been $1 million apiece. They could have been 50,000 apiece. The point is he got all of his money back and then some. After misconduct, they scapegoated him too. That seems to be what they do. So, the whole thing with Cleveland is a mess. Honestly, when Shedeur left Colorado, I was so forward to him going to an elite team or a team that had an O-line. I would have just took a team that had an O-line. They could have been sorry. It could have been Cleveland. I didn't have a problem with Shedeur going to Cleveland. Even though I didn't know who Cleveland was and I heard what they said, the point is I wanted them to have an O-line. Well, now that they don't have that, I'm like, well, I guess, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because they didn't even bother to get elite O-linemen with those 2 second-round picks, at least one of them. You had 2 second-round picks, and you didn't get one O-lineman. You got a linebacker, which you already had. You ain't know old boy was going to be out for the rest of the year. That's why we're hearing that. I bet that's why we're hearing that. Because people are questioning them. You didn't get what you needed. You didn't get an elite QB. You didn't even fix your O-line. I don't see how this dude have a job. Unless they're telling him exactly what to do, and he's saying, yes, sir. Not yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they can use him like a useful idiot. There's no way you can broker that Deshaun Watson deal and still have a job without it being mandated from higher up. No way. No game, 4-5. Let him settle in and learn. Okay, so you said game 4-5, Charmaine. Okay, all right, I'll take that. Let him settle in. I don't have a problem with him not starting. Whether I think he's more incapable or not, of course. If Jaden Daniels can do it, so can Shedeur Sanders. I don't have a problem if he don't start the first game, but I want to see him on that field for more than 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm serious about that. He's too elite of a talent to not play. If Cam Ward started, Shedeur Sanders should start. They're the same quarterback. We know this. The difference is you need a magnifying glass to see it. And it's not many. Cleveland Browns fans know about JOK. The 24 lawsuits had to do with women, if you know what I mean. Oh, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what it is. That's why I use the term misconduct, and I figured everybody knew, by now. And I thought it was funny when he came out. I'm like, Deshaun, the ink not dry, bro. Let's just before somebody hit you with number 25. Let's just sit on over there in the corner and just be quiet. Be thankful you passed the situation. And you know what? Even though they were probably wrong in the first place, he was wrong too, right? So it said the NFL closed the situation after the 24th lawsuit was settled. I'm like, why they had to close anything? That sounds like a public matter to me. Shedeur had 4 different OCs during his college career. He knows how to learn the playbook, right? And now I've seen posts today that said there was never a playbook that they gave him, that they just flat out lied. I'm like, these people really went through a lot of trouble just so they could get Jackson Dart. We don't care if you want Jackson Dart. That's what I said the night when I was emotionally distressed on camera, and it's recorded. Yeah. So I said it. Y'all just wanted to get, I knew y'all just wanted to get Jackson Dart, but you didn't have to defame Shedeur Sanders to get Jackson Dart. That's how you know this is about something else. Why did Shedeur Sanders have to be defamed by the New York Giants? So everybody can have an excuse for believing it and not drafting him and standing pat together. So people won't say what we said is collusion. People won't say what it looked like, what it was obvious, that it was collusion. So they had to trash Shedeur. And I told y'all, Shedeur couldn't be number 16 and go to the Tennessee Titans because why? How do you draft Shedeur Sanders at 16 and not draft Cam Ward at 17 at all? Shedeur had to be number 2. That's why if you go back and look at any pre-draft footage, Shedeur was number 2. I noticed the media kept pushing. I'm like, why are they keep pushing him to number 2 when he's the best QB? People would say it. No, he the best QB. No. He's the second one. And remember, how many times have I said on camera, why do they insist that this man is going to the Giants when they know the Giants have never had a black starting quarterback? That's how you know the media was in on it. So when they were clutching their pearls, it was performative because let them tell it, well, I didn't know he was going to go that low. So you let them use you and you shot. Really. And now, all of a sudden, the media is, Shedeur can start. What's really going on? Something going on behind the scenes. The more and more you hear said, if you turn on YouTube or if you got your favorite sports channel and somebody you shocked is saying it, maybe we found out who the Ole Miss sweatshirt guy was. True story. Yesterday in Atlanta, I was in one of the ritziest parts of Atlanta, and I ran into somebody, a kid in college, and he was wearing an Ole Miss sweatshirt. And I looked around where I was standing at, and I said, they protecting that person. So maybe that's what's coming out. Maybe the truth about that is starting to surface because people are realizing that they are protecting Ole Miss sweatshirt. When the last time you heard about that prank? Did you ever hear anybody say that the NFL itself has been fined? No. They don't want that person with connection to wealth to get in trouble. Why? Because of who he belonged to. You know, when you was little and you was lost at the store, they're like, oh, where your mama? Who you belong to? Who you belong? It's because of who he belongs to. That's what they don't want to expose. I told y'all, birds of a feather flock together. If you rich and your kids got friends, they friends rich too. It's rare that it don't happen like that. Maybe one or two, but that's rare. That's rare. All right, so it said, oh, okay, that's great. It said they cannot smother good talent. No, you can't. You can't. And I'm so happy. I'm not shocked that Shedeur balled out. I'm not shocked that Jimmy Horn Jr. is him. We knew that. Steve Smith said it before the draft. He the number 10, he the top 10 receiver. He did a list of 10 receivers of 15. Jimmy Horn Jr. was 10. I was like, yeah, this is good. He was on his way, and they cut him down. And it wasn't just Shedeur. I told y'all Shedeur was not the only person to get snubbed in that draft. When it came to the QBs, it was him and Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, I told y'all when we were doing pre-draft conversations, they never even talked about Jalen Milroe. They act like they ain't see him. They didn't want to see him because he was going to be number 18 if he went in the first or the second round. Jalen Hurts got drafted in the second round at number 53, and he just won a Super Bowl. So the NFL needs to control what it can control. And trying to, like Marlon say, smother talent, it's futile. We all see it. And they need to start respecting their fans. Not some of their fans, all of their fans. Jerry said, and they could have Travis. Yes. But they gave him away. Yes. And when, I'm telling y'all, I need to go find, I think it's still in my phone, that interview where that reporter asked Andrew Berry about that. He was so smug, in my opinion. Oh, I didn't really think about it like that. I'm pretty sure that's what I would call him saying. You didn't think about what? They want mediocrity. That's what they went after. Now, Keyshawn Jenkins is not mediocre at all. But at the QB position, that seems to be the preference. I just hate to say it. They had DTR last year. They traded him. He's somewhere else too. He went to UCLA. He came out 5th round, number 141, I think. What was Shedeur, 144? I think Dorian Thompson Robinson. I think if you look him up, he was a 5th round pick, probably around 141. Came and went. Thanks his lucky stars, he probably gone. Yeah, they could have had Shedeur and Travis. So I don't have a problem if Jacksonville is a reality and it happens next year. I wanted it this year, and it could happen this year. Somebody posted earlier today after preseason. Somebody posted in the comments under one of my videos. It said after preseason trades are made or something like that. So it's possible we could see a trade. And honestly, I asked the question in my video earlier today. I said, now, why didn't Kenny Pickett go with his offensive coordinator to New Orleans, who's a head coach? Why did they get the JUCO champ who facing charges for gambling against his own team, Iowa State, in 2023? Why they just didn't get Kenny Pickett when they knew Cleveland had an overcrowded QB room? Didn't he play for Kellen Moore? That's a question that needs to be answered. Why didn't they send Kenny Pickett from Philadelphia to New Orleans? And if they didn't do it at first, why didn't they do it after Derek Carr retired? Anybody know? Let's see what they do with Deshaun Watson, and then the answer might come a little clearer. Somebody at the school know who the Ole Miss sweatshirt is. Yep, they said he belonged to a frat. And I'm convinced if you know he's in a fraternity, you know which one he in and you know his name. Because it ain't hard to just drive down there and ride by the probably the row of houses that they have and figure it out. It's not hard at all. It's not hard at all. That's how you know they are intentionally keeping the lid on that. They are intentionally protecting. They're not protecting the guy from the Falcons. They're not protecting his son because they want to set it up in the print media that he's the one that made the call when we saw who made the call. So again, another Jedi mind trick. You trying to tell us we see what we saw? We saw his son with the gray on sitting on the couch, pacing back and forth and stressing out a little bit. But we saw Ole Miss sweatshirt guy calm as a cucumber. He didn't even flinch or shake his leg or nothing. He just didn't feel like he was going to get in trouble. And here we are. He hasn't gotten in trouble. Wonder who he belonged to. Who in the organization is incompetent? Huh? If you talking about the Browns, hell, anybody we could see that has decision-making ability when it came to the draft? Ghost said DTR is with the Eagles. He won't play, but he will possibly get a ring. Yes. And you know what? That's how you level up. That's how you level up. To me, Malik Willis leaving Tennessee and going to Green Bay is starting leveling up. So we just got to wait for Shedeur to level up. And we got to make sure he don't get sacked excessively before that happens. So, you know, we might have to suffer through this year with the Browns organization for our guy. And we're going to make the best of it. You know, we're going to make the best of it. And I'm not committing to 4 hours or anything if Shedeur is not on the field. I will just see y'all later that night. I'm not wasting my time. There are other people I can watch. I can watch Travis. I can watch LeJontay. I can watch Jimmy Horn Jr. I can watch Cameron Silver-Craig and BJ Green all down in Jacksonville with Travis. I'm not wasting my time. Not if he on the bench. No, I'm not doing that. That's just going to infuriate me. Then I'm going to have a second lawsuit. I'm so glad I recorded that, but I was going to delete it. But I'm like, I'm glad I did not. I'm glad I did not. Personally, I want the son, the caller, and the cameraman. I just want to know who they belong to. That's what I want to know because there's something there. That's what I want to know. So, yeah, I'm like you, Kay Hayes. I want them held accountable, but I want whoever they belong to, I need them identified. They said the guy with the recording was black. Did y'all hear that? I heard that. I was like, and I don't care. I really don't care. He should have felt like a stooge, but okay. He probably feel like one now. That's why they got him to do it. Personally, yeah, that's what Ghost said. Ghost said that. I thought Hayes said it. Ghost said, yep, the caller, the cameraman, and the son. Yep. The Browns will trade Kenny Pickett before the season begins. They're going to trade somebody. And I said it ain't going to be Shedeur. I said that on camera a couple of weeks ago. I said they're going to trade somebody, but it ain't going to be Shedeur Sanders. And what a week or two in, when camp started last week, they shocked. I'm like, ain't nobody shocked that Shedeur balled out. Now here come, the NFL owes Shedeur an apology. I'm like, bump the apology. They owe him $70 million. They owe Jimmy Horn Jr. some money too. Talking about, hold on, everybody's wild about how twitchy he is. So you didn't watch no film then. You didn't come to the games. You didn't really scout. So your scouts need to be fired because y'all didn't do your job. They was just out there twiddling their thumbs, I guess, on the road in their car. When they got off the plane, they just must have stayed in the airport because they clearly didn't watch Colorado play. Heard or not, he has film. We knew that about him. It's not surprising. It's not surprising at all. They just trying to cover up the fact that those young men got pushed down in the draft. And if it was supposedly about Shedeur, like y'all lied and said it was, why did they get injured? Why you hurt them too? Questions that need to be answered. And the owner as well, who apparently don't have control of the organization. Oh, facts. You know what? That poll, when they said the Giants, the first organization that needs to sell, the Saints is second, and the Browns is third. If we could just scrub those three of their current ownership, maybe take Fertitta in New Orleans with the Pelicans. Hell, he can have the Rockets, the Pelicans, and the Saints. I'm cool with it. Because one thing about them, they are business people. They want to win, and they classy. They classy. They high class. It's gonna be upscale, and it's gonna be competitive because they trying to win. Do y'all see any foolishness going on with the Rockets? No. And honestly, I was not with him being the Saints owner at first. But see, now I see what's really going on. And you know what? Y'all got to move on. And they are actually making a case for somebody to push them out due to incompetence, negligence, and all sorts of other kind of things. If this was a regular corporation with federal rules and regulations to comply to, oh, wait, it is. It's a regular corporation that has to comply with federal rules and regulations in the workplace. It's ripe for the picking. However you want to take it. It's right for them to be swept up in a hostile takeover. That's how hostile takeovers go. It's being mismanaged. They losing money. They doing this wrong. They doing that wrong. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? We was going to push you out. It's the perfect scenario for us to, next year, a year from now, Fertitta's the owner of the Saints. They messing up badly. All in the sake of preservation of the racial hierarchy at QB1. And now, the longer this goes on, it's not just the Giants. And the prank call was innocently made with the Saints. They was in on blocking Shedeur too. People are starting to talk about that more. What did I say? Time brings clarity. Remember, Horn was injured all season. But yeah, Horn is a baller. They saw him at CU. They saw him at the Shrine Bowl. And I think it was the Steelers asked him, the Steelers, I thought they said he didn't need to work out no more. So I get it. He was injured, but they saw him at the Shrine Bowl. I'm sorry. They saw him at the Alamo Bowl. They saw him at the Shrine Bowl. They saw him at the Combine because he got an invite first. He was the first wide receiver and the only wide receiver to get an invite at first. And they saw him at CU Pro Day. That's 4 different events. And I don't even know when his first game was back from injury. If he had a game, if he played in the OSU game, oh, hell, they definitely saw that. Because that was a shutout, 52-0. Now, I don't know if he played that game. I'll have to go back and look at that game. That's 4, technically, that's 4 opportunities that you claim you didn't have during the season, plus the year before. So it's BS. It's trying to cover and say, oh, we didn't know he was good. You're lying. And what it's doing is an exposing collusion all the way around. And this was not just about Shedeur. These other guys got injured in this. It messes with their money. These contracts are for 4 years. They will be behind the peers that they are equal to or better than in talent. In most cases, if he the best wide receiver down there in Carolina, then he should have been late first round. And that's about, at minimum, probably about $12 million. That's a hell of a difference from $4 million over 4 years. That's going from $1 million a year to roughly $3 million a year. That's a big difference. This messes with their guys, these guys' money. It's not a coincidence. After Shedeur went, their floodgates just opened up. It's like they were holding all of them back. That is the biggest case of collusion I ever saw. And honestly, that means it had nothing to do with Shedeur. That's what that would mean. That's what it means. So who are you trying to hurt? Well, it's collusion for sure, but who are you trying to hurt? And then when Shedeur get to Cleveland, unlike Jimmy, when Jimmy got to Carolina, they love him. They love him. The camera loves him down there. Their cameras. I said, God, they love Jimmy just like they did in Colorado. He had all those sponsors even when he was hurt. But now Shedeur, y'all saw that very cold, condescending welcome he got from Cleveland. So it don't take a super lawyer to figure out that it was collusion, number one. And two, there was an agenda about QBs, quarterbacks, plural. Because remember, they didn't want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft. And even if it comes down to, they didn't want him to have a brand. Okay, so why you ain't draft Jalen Milroe? Because he don't have no brand presence like that. He have brands, but not like that. So we know what it's about. We know what it's about. And you wrote the rest to see you in it because you try to scapegoat Coach Prime. That's why you held the rest of them back. You try to say, you know what? We just going to blame Coach Prime for being a helicopter parent. So you going to blame Coach Prime for being a helicopter parent, but you're going to take it out on Shedeur? No, ain't nobody buying that. No jury is buying that. Because what did Coach Prime do? You don't even have nothing. You don't even have nothing. But there's enough video out there to see Shedeur didn't need an agent because he's in the same room with the owners and having a casual conversation with Jerry Jones and with who? Roger Goodell. He didn't need no agent. It's a non-negotiable contract. What the hell are we talking about? He knew he was going high because Cleveland courted him damn near exclusively as much as they did. Nobody else met with him that much. Yes, the Giants were performative and went to every CU game. That don't mean nothing because they have Russell Wilson and he's not going to be their starter. And if so, he's going to play exactly the number of games to say he's the starter, and they're going to take him out. They are playing in that man's face. If he could be the starter in New York, he could have stayed in Pittsburgh, where he was the starter and led them to the playoffs. You see, right after they get to the playoffs, they yank him out of there, force him out of there. To me, I feel like they gutted the Philadelphia Eagles. Some people say they do that all the time. I'm like, I don't think they did that to Kansas City because Travis Kelce's still down there. But they sure gutted the Eagles. If Shedeur starts, will his contract be renegotiated? Somebody said he has to play and play well. I don't think the rules should apply to him because clearly fairness didn't apply to him. They ignored the rules in the draft. So they going to need this. I told y'all going to look up one day and y'all going to see a bunch of owners and people laughing in Shedeur's face. Y'all going to see that. And that's how you don't know something has happened and he probably not going to talk about it. Did y'all know Deshaun Watson had a $230 million contract? Everybody didn't know that. It seemed like it's a football transaction. It was wrapped up with a trade. So I said, if Shedeur get traded to Jacksonville, y'all going to give him his money, right? Somebody said he got to play for a little bit here and look good. And then they could trade him as if he's desirable now. And then they can give him the money. And that's probably the way it's going to go. Believe me, they're trying to figure it out because something is changing. When you see Pat McAfee saying, yeah, he had an opportunity to start. He could, I'm like, yeah, what's going on with you? And when other people start lifting the story and repeating it like a parrot, something is going on. Maybe it's the $100 million lawsuit because they don't want to talk about the racism. They don't want to talk about how they violated the Consumer Protection Act and how they disrespected their fans by luring us to watch them publicly humiliate Shedeur Sanders. Maybe they don't want to talk about the prank and who was in the Ole Miss sweatshirt. Maybe they don't want to talk about the NFL and why they haven't been fined for breaching Shedeur's data and why they were sharing it with 2,000 people who they need to know along with a waiver wire. There's a lot they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about how the discrimination against Shedeur is the same discrimination against other black quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson. There's a lot that they don't want to talk about. So we shall see. There's a lot that they don't want to talk about. Believe me, there's a lot. It's just too much. You think that how many people knew that they settled a $1 billion lawsuit for race norming, saying that there was a difference in the brains of black people and white people? How many people knew that? None. And that's a $1 billion lawsuit. And you kept that quiet. Why? Because the reporters didn't talk about it. Just like you don't see them talking about the New York Giants and Shedeur this and Shedeur that. You don't hear that no more. After Pollock put up that post that they lying, that went quiet. Once the coach who I guess what's his name, whatever his name is, the head coach down there that told most of the lies that he had an entourage, and you see he still got a job. Some gonna have to shake, because you can't have a job after that. You can't have a job after that. And the only way you can have a job after that if you make the wrongs right. But it's not just Shedeur that's gonna have to get that money. It's other people got injured in this too. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. For a player who won't play $230 million, that's he. If y'all talking about Deshaun Watson, I looked up his contract earnings. He went from $10 million. $10 million. In 2020, at the time, 23, 24 cases, because another one wasn't settled for 2 years later in 2024. So about 22. So he went from $10 million, 22, 23, settled civil lawsuits for misconduct, and then $46 million. In what world does that happen? What world is that? That fully guaranteed. Oh, they could have played it off and gave him some of it. They gave him all of it. That's how you know he was not the only one. Yes, it is. For a player that's not going to play, you really going to bench a player that you have to pay $46 million to in 2025 and an additional $46 million in 2026. 46 times 2. Whoo, that's a lot of money for somebody to be sitting on the bench. Fully guaranteed, whether he plays or not. Performance is irrelevant. 9 touchdowns is enough. Karma is real. Yep, it is. Hey, how you doing, Tina? How you doing? Jerry said, I never knew any of this. Yeah, because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. And honestly, I only know about Deshaun Watson because of what they did to Shedeur. See, that's how it go. Once people see this, how you get down. Oh, well, how did this come about? That's what happens. That is what's happening. I'm telling you, that lawsuit has legs. When you go to court, you got to talk about it. You got to put it on out there. It's public information. Like that Diddy trial. It's YouTubers sitting in that courtroom that got passes. YouTubers. They got big channels, but the point is, they're not standard media that people are used to being in courtrooms. These are YouTubers who have become content creators who have passes that are at the trial. There's certain things you don't want to come out in trial. Like what I heard Cassie supposedly said, that's not something you want to come out. Then it's just going on and on. And unfortunately, what could happen for them, unfortunately, once you get in the court and you start talking about Shedeur and you say you violated Shedeur Sanders' rights, civil rights, you violated some other people's civil rights too. And then we're going to talk about how long you've been violating people's civil rights. and how you just settled a $1 billion lawsuit for violating people's civil rights, and you doing it again, which means you just habitual with it. You got to be forced to do right. You cannot be trusted to do right. So you know what? You need oversight. That's what you need. You cannot be trusted to govern yourself. And I'm going to need you to sell this team right here. And maybe that's how we get a new owner for the Giants. But there are 3 teams that need to be rolled up in this. The Giants, the Browns, and the Saints. And when you think about it, they all involved. Y'all know the Browns, pre-draft, extensive. You heard them say it multiple times. All of the 3, the sorriest teams that need new owners are all roped up in this. The Giants, the Saints, both Mannings, that Ole Miss connection, and the Browns, where Shedeur went, who had the drafting, and look how they treated him. All 3 of them are involved. All 32. But these 3 right here, the most problematic 3, are all in cahoots with trying to cover this up. The prank, the push, and the defamation. Yep. The discrimination too. Yep. This bad. This is bad. I'm telling you, it's bad. And honestly, it didn't even have to happen. Because when they got their hand slapped for $1 billion with this race norm, if the public find out about that, they're gonna be like, hold on, you think black people less than white people? You think our brains are less than? I mean, if Donald Sterling had to lose his team, why shouldn't they? He was caught on audio. We caught them red-handed. All 3 teams are in cahoots with this. Not a coincidence. So we shall see. That's what I say. Y'all know that's my motto. All right, it's an hour and 31 minutes. We're going to get out of here. If y'all can get the likes up for me, I appreciate it. 59 likes, 82 people. Yay! I'm glad to see the same people coming back because we're growing as a podcast family. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. So we'll probably do the lunch series during the work week, Monday through Friday. So we'll take a break on the weekends, and so I could go have some fun. And then, unless there's some breaking news, I'm not against breaking news. So we'll do our 12:30 tomorrow, and I'll schedule it after this one. When you see it, just click the notification, notify me, and you'll get the notification when we're live. And don't forget, we have memberships. Thank you for the members like Tuna who showed up tonight. Thank you. It's nice to see you. We have 2 levels. Click the join button. There's no commitment. You can just look and see what the levels are and make your decision. And for those of you who tried to cash at me, it is what it is. If you can't figure out what I am, don't worry about it. I appreciate. I'd rather have you as a member, but I understand everybody is not set up on whatever you need to do to join. So I appreciate the concern. If you can figure out it's me, it's Goat-ish. I think it's Goat-ish 2 or 3. It says good vibes, Goat 3. So that's me. But I appreciate y'all showing up, and the engagement is always wonderful. Thank you for the moderators doing your thing. I appreciate you. And we'll be back tomorrow, 12:30, and then we'll be back tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the late breaking news after the lunch hour. Thank y'all so much. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. If you did not catch the video from earlier today, let's see. I can put the link into the chat, and y'all can go watch it. Make sure you hit the like button for me. People that find the channel really like it, so I hope y'all will go ahead and share it. So yeah, just share the video with people you respect. That's basically what I say. So I will go ahead and put in the video. Let's see. I dropped it this afternoon. It was funny. It was cute. And of course, leave me some comments. Here's a share. Okay. Oh, and I posted it on X, Twitter, and I posted it on Facebook. So if y'all are on those platforms, you'll see this video that the link I'm getting ready to drop also. So y'all will be able to see it on there. And we didn't have any interruptions on our live tonight. That's good, right? So that means maybe things are shaking themselves out. All right. So I just dropped the link in the chat to the video I dropped early today. I posted it on X. I posted it on Facebook, and I posted it on what is that? Like when you the community. I posted it on the community under post. So you'll probably see it there. So show us some love. Thank y'all. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Thank y'all so much. Oh, y'all got the likes up for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see y'all at lunch tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.